Hey gang, it's Shaggy here again. The bad weather of August 19th continued to about the 23rd and kept effectively the Luftwaffe from bombing the living daylights out of what was left of fighter command. Nonetheless, on the 19th, enemy aircraft managed to strike at the likes of Portsmouth, Southampton, Plymouth, outer London, but without any real damage apart. Pembroke Docks was set on fire, but not compared to what happened yesterday, so to speak, or a couple of days beforehand. Goering is meant to have been fuming at the delay, the fact that he couldn't get to bombing the Luftwaffe, if only bombing fighter command. This being said, fighter command are in not desperate straits just yet, but are not exactly in a position to celebrate. Today and till the 23rd is a time for fighter command to kind of lick their wounds and keep themselves going somehow. They're going to get more pilots, but they won't be the best trained pilots compared to the crop that would have been there when the battle started in July 1940. Indeed, that is the trouble. A lot has changed. I'm debating to myself personally, because it's the 80th anniversary of all this stuff going down, sort of pretending if Germany had managed to land on, say, September 7th or whatever, and sort of do a alternate campaign. That is not to slight those that paid the ultimate deed in the summer of 1940, but as I say, it's the 80th anniversary of all that happening, and no one's really paying attention to what comes out of my mouth is on Twitter. So my attempts to educate people is kind of falling flat. Looking at the likes of the fantastic James Holland, say, on Twitter, he's doing it a much better way, really. And Dan Snow, although Dan Snow's doing all over history at the moment, whereas I'm just focusing on the battle. And James Holland's focusing all over. He's of the modern historians, he's probably the best, I think, because he has a real feel for it. We're a few days away from the accidental bombing of London. Heinkel or whatever was over London. They thought they were over the estuary or some such. They hadn't found their target. It was dark, and they dropped their bombs where they thought was safe to do so. The bombs landed in central London and elsewhere, and Churchill was bloody livid. He was like, "This is a deliberate provocation. Hitler's gone back on his word," or whatever. Now, there was never any official agreement between Britain and Germany not to bomb London, but Hitler's orders were leave London alone. Another sign, perhaps, of just how unserious, if that's a word, he was about touching Britain or anything. Although there is suggestion that had he invaded, occupied and conquered the country, Oxford would have been the new capital. Anyway, it happened. Churchill has bombers sent over to Berlin the next day. Propaganda-wise, it was a coup. Britain has taken a fight to the heart of the Nazi regime. I need to look at it. I'll probably do a video about it. You never know. But a fair few of the bombers actually lost their way. I laugh because it wasn't the most. Compared to what happened later, after 1943, it wasn't the most professional raids, really. But then, nonetheless, bombers found Berlin, dropped bombs, and made Goering look a bigger fool than he was already. Old Fat Herman once said, apparently, something along the lines of, "If a bomb ever fell on Berlin, you may call me Meyer," or some such, which is like a German version of being called a Burke, I suppose. As seen in the film Battle of Britain. Bombs land, Hitler is bloody pissed. If the British drop 100, 200, 300 kilograms of bombs, we're going to drop 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 on Britain, all this stuff. And so Hitler says, right, London. And from September the 7th, they do. As I was saying, of all people, to my mother last night, and she was sort of saying, well, you are right, you've done alternate history. Because we were talking about my grandfather. He volunteered for Burma, but was twice denied, and if he had gone out east, he probably would have been killed. You know, his regiment suffered terribly in Burma. But in the summer of 1940, there are many facets that have changed world history, probably subtly to the public, but changed it nonetheless. The British being able to evacuate 300,000 from the beaches of Dunkirk. You know, Hitler twice held the tanks back, or at least the tanks are held back twice. Churchill decided to fight on rather than make peace. The Battle of Britain, and Hitler saying, let's go after London. It made sense if you want to get back at somebody, but it gave Fighter Command a chance to sort themselves out and go after Hitler. The airfields were being left alone once the Blitz started, by and large anyway, and it allowed Fighter Command to get the upper hand, hence why September the 15th is known as Battle of Britain Day to this day. Had that German bomber found its target or dropped its unwanted bombs over the estuary? Who knows? I could be talking to you with a German accent. But I kind of feel I'm starting to come to the conclusion that Hitler necessarily might not have invaded Britain, but had the Battle of Britain continued to a point that air defences was going, maybe there would have been a peace as such forced upon Britain. C.J. Sampson, who apparently largely writes Tudor books, wrote a book called Dominion a few years ago, set in 1952, where Britain made peace with Germany after at the time of Dunkirk, because Lord Halifax becomes Prime Minister and he seeks peace. By 1952, the Gestapo, based in what is now the University College of London, that tall building whose name escapes me right now, the Jews from Britain have been taken east, because German, and they put the ports. I mean, part of Hitler's condition of a peace was that he got hold of the ports, like Portsmouth and whatnot, and the Royal Navy fell into his ownership. So, in some respects, a peace with Hitler would have been worse than an invasion. And even then, the invasion, like I said, the whole Operation Sea Lion business is unbearably headache-inducing. Was he serious about it? Was it going to happen? If it did happen, what would happen? How would it go? Everything. If you look at it, if you read enough books about it, there's like 5,000 options, it seems. Would he have done a full occupation, as he said in Directive 16? He said a complete occupation of the United Kingdom. He was going to give Northern Ireland to Ireland without a blink of the eye. Can you imagine what? That would have gone down well with somebody. So yeah, that's the situation 19th to the 23rd of August, 1940, 80 years ago. So, the bastards have started and are not going to stop now, as Keith Park says, played by Trevor Howard in the film Battle of Britain. Thanks as always. If anybody has watched this into its entirety, YouTube statistics show that of any video, people are watching on average between 10 seconds and 50 seconds of any video I do. So yeah. Regrettably, I'm not Dan Snow, James Holland, what's her face who does the Lucy Wolseley? John Humphreys, anyone else that has the means for the BBC to say, let's do a documentary. I'm just a very nearly out of work tour guide who wasn't the best but tried his best. London Pride has gone downhill since I first started it. Anyway, thanks awfully chaps, take care of yourselves.